White Plains has always had welcoming as part of their DNA. It would be hard to come into this place for worship and not be spoken to.
I guess I would say the intentionality of people going out of their way to make visitors feel welcome and being very hospitable was something that drew us here, and I think it continued to draw new members here.
Lighthouse congregations are those congregations who are intentionally seeking to be a welcome and safe harbor for those who've experienced harm from the church or who have experienced their own church disaffiliating or closing. Lighthouse congregations are trying to be a beacon of welcome to those folks to find a new church home. We came to become a Lighthouse congregation really as a response to my transition time in the last year. I moved in July to serve in this role, and so one of the ways that I've been tending to that transition is to meet with smaller groups and cottage meetings. And one of the things that I heard was this hunger and a longing and even the language of being a safe place. Some of our own folks who had experienced harm from the church in previous seasons of their life or were just disillusioned by something that had happened in the life of a church or this church in particular, and they're trying to give it another try. So folks were telling those kind of stories, and that they found their Sunday school class or their small group to really be a safe haven, and that could we do that for other people? And definitely as we were dealing with all the news about disaffiliation in North Carolina, there was this, is there a way for us to respond to that? Is there a way for us to be a safe harbor for other folks who've experienced their churches split apart or have been told by their church they're not welcome? There was a gathering of some large church pastors to learn about the Lighthouse congregation initiative with the New Faith Communities and the United Methodist Collective. And as I read through it, I was like, that's exactly what our folks are asking to do, and here's a way for us to respond. And so I brought it to our church council as a response.
I first heard about the Lighthouse congregation concept from our pastor. We were preparing for a church retreat, and I saw it on the agenda, and I really didn't know what it was about. And as she explained it, I probably had a similar reaction to a lot of people when she explained it was a means to be welcoming to people, to be consistent in a church for discipleship, for worship, for community. Seemed like we were already doing all that, but then as she explained that it was really meant to be intentional and affirm that aspect of hospitality, which is so important and which Jesus preaches to everyone, it made a lot of sense, and we immediately passed it.
We announced it that Sunday, and to thunderous applause, folks were super thrilled to have that opportunity to acknowledge that. So it really kind of happened organically. I even used the term serendipitously, that the timing was just right when we were feeling this call to be a safe harbor, and that language of Lighthouse and safe harbor all goes together. So it felt like it was the Holy Spirit's work within us to make that response.
When I read in the e-blast about becoming a Lighthouse congregation, I thought, that's the church being the church and being intentional about it, which is exactly who we should be and what we need to be. And we need to be that especially right now because our denomination is hurting, but we live in a hurting world.
It certainly fits with our mission statement at White Plains that we're a disciple-making church on mission for Christ. One of Christ's biggest missions, obviously, is to be open to all people, right? He told us to love God and love our neighbors as ourselves.
I think there's a tendency to think that it's obvious that all are welcome at a church. But I think for a lot of people, they don't feel welcomed. So it's really important for us to come out and say, you specifically are welcome here. You're welcome here if you've lost your church because of disaffiliation. You're welcome here regardless of what you look like, regardless of who you love.
We focus on unity and try to keep the main thing, as we seek to make God's love real in the world. And that will tend to be how we treat every discussion or every disagreement or argument. We're going to come to acknowledging that God's love is the most powerful thing in between us over and above any other issue.
we're committing. We're saying, this is who we are, and this is who we will be, and this is who we will be for you and for you and for you, regardless of what your story is. This is how we be the church.